Welcome to I Left the City, a show about the talented and skilled people who moved to Hastings County to find a wildly authentic life. I'm your host, Michelle Sampson. In this episode, we head to the northern reaches of Hastings County to chat with the owners of Maynooth Station Lodge, a new glamping experience opening in 2025. Rick Dolishny and Jen Carr have been on quite the journey to get their first geodesic dome off the ground. We talk about all of the glamorous and not so glamorous details, why they love Maynooth, and how they became TikTok famous. This interview was recorded in February 2025. I would love to kick this off with, just where both of you guys are originally from. You're not from Hastings County originally, right?
Well, I was born in Leamington, but then I was raised in Whitney, which is about 20 minutes north of where we are right now. I have great memories of that from when I was basically born until about 4 years old. So I do have a few memories of that, and I have some pictures that remind me of that. So it's kind of serendipitous, very nice that we've traveled the world, and here we are back in Hastings Highlands. It's been great, but I've lived all across Ontario and the States.
Mm-hmm. We'll get more into that in a minute.
Yeah, I grew up in Bruce Peninsula, sort of right at the bottom of that, and then spent most of my career in southwestern Ontario, around Stratford, Kitchener, Waterloo, and then finally migrated to this area.
I spent some time in Kitchener, Waterloo myself.
Oh, very nice.
But we won't talk too much about them because it's not about Kitchener, Waterloo.
That's right.
All right. So, you guys have both teased that you have really traveled. You've been all over the place. You've lived all over the place. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to go through in a little bit more detail sort of each of your work histories and where that brought you along the way. So maybe we can start with you, Rick.
Okay. I've got about 25 careers throughout my life. I have a hard time settling down. I started in entertainment, outdoor entertainment. I had a brief stint at Disney Outdoor Entertainment in Florida when I was quite a bit younger. Studied entertainment and technology at what was Ryerson University. And then bounced in and out of entertainment for most of my career, working at all the networks here in Canada as an editor, as a video producer, and then finally as a technologist with our transition from tape-based media to electronic digital media. And then I pivoted into project management technology, and I have been involved in technology on some level for about 10 years now.
Okay. And where were you living through all of these various careers?
All over the place, Toronto, Mississauga, Durham region, moved up towards Peterborough, and that got me closer to here. And then that's where I transitioned into where I am right now.
Oh, gotcha. All right. How about you, Jen?
For me, it was totally the opposite. I had changed my career about 8 years ago into more technology and the fintech sector, got more into managing operations at computer software development companies. And so this is entirely out of scope for what I'm used to. But, during COVID, the opportunity came for, everyone to transition to remote work fairly soon after realizing that there really was no need to go back into the office. I made the transition up to this area and just, get away from the city and invested in my property there, and then was able to purchase a larger property up here.
All right. So why Maynooth? How did you guys end up in Maynooth in particular?
That's a great question. So I found myself up in this area. In a previous relationship, we actually had a summer home in the area, so in Hastings Highlands. And so when that relationship ended, we share a daughter together. So I wanted to stay close to this area. And so it was the perfect opportunity. It's a little bit, not right next door, but it's still within the area, and love being a part of this community.
And I was in Peterborough and just looking for love, kind of expanded my circle of influence a little bit. And we connected pretty quickly online and communicated for a few days, really. And then we finally had a little breakfast date up here in Bancroft, and I never left.
Okay, that's not actually.
Do you want to tell a different story, Jen?
It was a little bit longer than that.
I'm giving the short version of that. But
right.
Regardless, you came for a girl. I love
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, the heart wants what the heart
Exactly.
wants. Yeah, exactly.
There you go. So for those who aren't familiar, can one of you tell us a little bit more about Maynooth?
Sure. Well, it's a lovely artistic, sort of quirky, culturally significant village, just south of Whitney, south of Algonquin Park, and about an hour and a half north of Peterborough. We're at the intersection of a couple of main highways, and we're also at the intersection of a couple of ATV and snowmobile trails, which we'll get into a bit later. So
Hmm.
it has a lot going for it. Great bakery, a nice little pub. Of course, the Arlington Gastro House or Arlington Pub or Arlington Hotel. It's the Purple Hotel that everyone refers to, and everybody kind of knows that. It's definitely a milestone between people traveling from, say, Toronto up to Algonquin Park. They'll always see the Arlington hotel or pub. So that's in Maynooth as well.
All right. Anything to
Yeah.
add, Jen?
Yeah, Maynooth has a little bit of everything. It really is sort of a tourist destination when it comes to people that are cottaging up in this area. It's a little bit further away from Bancroft, but you really get into, this is sort of the last stop to a number of different lakes in the area and lots of cottage country.
Yeah.
So people will stop here for the bakery, for all the antique shops that we have here. We have a number of art galleries. So it really is just kind of this cultural hub that's developed and continues to develop and grow. And we're, really excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, you're going to be, contributing to the business landscape in Maynooth. I mean, you guys both have these technology backgrounds, but you're kind of going in an opposite direction with your
Absolutely.
next business. Where did the idea to open a glamping resort come from?
Well, Jenna and I both travel a lot. We've been around the world and various locations, and we have a common understanding of what a desirable destination could be. And when you're actually there, the things that make a destination make you want to share it with your friends and then come back. So we've done a lot of traveling. We've validated a lot of our thinking about what we like and don't like. And sitting in our kitchen, having a morning coffee in the wintertime and watching 100 snowmobilers go right past our property. And we have just under 5 acres up here. That's when we started to think that, okay, how can we make this land work for us? And how
Mhm.
can we capitalize and give the community something that they might be missing?
Were there any reservations in that process of like, we're going into the tourism business, or were you just really like, let's do this?
It really was kind of jumping in with both feet at the beginning and no reservations. We were just like, yeah, we see an opportunity. We have the space. How hard can it be? And so jumped in with both feet. And then I think after that, the reservations started to happen. And it was just, the process was certainly not as easy as we anticipated. But going into it, we were all in. We were just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's open next week.
Well, let's transition into some of the challenges that can come up. Tell me a bit more about what this startup process has been like for you.
We've learned a lot about the permitting process. We've learned a lot about the engineering industry here in Ontario and why engineers are so important to new builds and construction projects. Our project is a little more, we went in thinking this was going to be a kind of a yurt tent kind of experience. But by definition, glamping is everything that people love about camping without actually being outside camping. So by that, I mean, we're a little more akin to building a house than building a tent. So getting the engineers involved, getting all the hydrologic assessment, which is the water testing done, which would support the property, and of course, septic and that sort of thing.
I kind of joked when I said, we went into it thinking, how hard can it be? But we quickly learned that, it's not as easy as just, putting stakes in the ground and throwing up a dome and you're open for business. There's so much involved in the process. And if you are not the tenacious sort that is willing to sort of overcome these challenges and work through the problems, then it probably isn't for you. But it's such an incredible learning opportunity, just getting the land rezoned for tourism, which was a process all in itself. And I thought, once we had that done, it was going to be smooth sailing. And then we managed to get that accomplished. We were extremely excited. I had lots of support behind that from the community, which was fantastic. And we thought, this is great. We'll be open in a few months. And you just learn quickly that it's not that easy. There's so much more involved in the process, but we had great people behind us. I can't say enough about the folks on council who are willing to talk to us and work us, like knowing that this is new for us. This is not part of our experience. And so just willing to work with us through every step of the way has been an incredible journey. Lots of lessons learned.
So how long has it been?
I'm going to say maybe going on 2 years.
Coming up on 2 years.
Yeah, because it would have been winter. Watching the snowmobilers.
Yeah, exactly. So it has been a bit of a long haul, but part of the reason why we persisted was just meeting people in the glamping community across Canada and the world, but primarily Canada, because Canada has some unique weather and climate challenges that come with our four seasons. So we've been in fairly constant communication with a real receptive, very small community of glamping, especially dome owners in Canada. There's a Blackstrap Glamping in Saskatchewan, and also too, we stayed at a dome in Quebec. Quebec, there's quite a few domes. The Maritimes, there's quite a few dome projects. Of course, Saskatchewan, really none in Ontario, and we know now why. The engineers, the zoning people, they just didn't understand. They like things that are square and flat. And we're neither of those things. But yeah, the community is very small, but very active and encouraging. So I'm happy to report that even after 2 years, there's still a novelty to a glamping dome experience in Ontario. There's really nothing like it in Ontario. There's a handful, one handful of glamping resorts that are built on domes primarily, and we're going to be one of them.
Right. So there is some opportunity in this tenacity. I'd love to paint a picture of what these domes look like. Can you kind of walk us through, what they look like, what the experience is?
Mm-hmm. It can be whatever experience the person who has the dome wants it to be. But I think ultimately you think about a dome as being sort of like this really elevated space that for those that have seen them, or if you haven't, there's a large panoramic window. So you think about going into this very brightly lit space. It's open, and it typically has all of the amenities that you want. So usually like an upscale washroom facility and, high-end decor. And, you might consider them sort of shabby chic. And, it's really what you think about when you want to be out in the wilderness. You want to experience the beautiful scenery and enjoy the space and the big open windows and stars at night, but you don't want to be in a tent. You want that hot shower at the end of the day. You want a nice comfy bed to sleep in. And so that's really what we provide. And it is unique. Again, you walk in, it's a circular space, so you're seeing everything as soon as you walk in, really high ceilings. So it's just like this big open space that you can make it whatever you want it to be.
Are the windows also sort of 360 all the way around?
I can go a little more tech nerd for the people that are painting a picture in their brain. So these are 600 square foot enclosed spaces. They're 8 meters across, very high ceilings that would allow for a loft on the second floor. And to what Jen said with the panoramic window, it's just over 30 feet wide. And what's unique to our property, unique to North America, we're still one of the first people to have this. We have double pane glass windows on the panoramic window. Every glamping dome in North America uses a PVC clear plastic. There's a number of advantages to having double paned glass windows, not the least of which is insulation, but condensation is greatly reduced. And anybody in the glamping industry will tell you these enclosed spaces are beautiful. They're super efficient. They're airtight. They retain heat, but in doing so, condensation can be a problem. Well, in our case, we've got these double pane windows that are gorgeous, and no one else in North America has these. So we're excited to offer that. And then, as Jen said, we have a full bathroom inside, hot running water, small kitchenette. So it's really unexpected for this part of Ontario.
That sounds incredible. Like, I just love the idea of like the stargazing while being warm and being able to, pop over to the washroom and have snacks. And
forced air heating and air conditioning. We're going to have a lot of the floors will be radiant heat as well. So yeah, it's glamping in the forest. It's camping without the camping part.
Where are you at in the process at this point? Like, are all your permits in? Are you ready to open?
Before the snow flew this year, we had everything done as far as permits go. We have this incredible platform that you could essentially land a helicopter on if you needed to. So it's the massive platform that the dome is going to sit on. And of course, it's like Rick had mentioned, it's 8 meters across. So it's, a significant space. And then adjacent to that is a full deck that's also going to support the hot tub. So all of that has been built and is ready to go. And we have started the base layer of the frame of the dome. So working through that. So I'm hoping that the next step, once we can get out of the winter months and see a little bit warmer weather, the dome will go up fairly quickly. So.
Okay. When are you expecting it to be ready for visitors?
Yeah.
Well, I guess given the conversation so far, maybe you don't want to jinx anything.
Nah, it's more than jinx by now, I can assure you.
I know.
Yeah, we were naively optimistic in November. We were working under 17, 18 degree days in November, and it was beautiful. And then literally one day, we had a half a meter of snow followed by an ice storm, and it shut us down overnight. So we had some great momentum. So to answer your question, we will be open this spring. We have some bookings for May. We're taking reservations. We have a train coming down the tunnel staring us in the face now with actual paid customers in May. So that's our goal. We're going to get the snow melted a bit, and then we'll finish what we started in November.
So you are open for reservations. What has the early interest been like?
It's been amazing. We own our reservation platform, which is also kind of unique in the industry. A lot of glamping resorts kind of hand over the keys to their operation to Airbnbs and Verbos. And there's a shift in attitude for business owners in handing over the keys and literally a significant amount of the money off to they're called OTAs, online travel agencies like Airbnb. So we own our own reservation process. So we know who's inquiring. We own all that data, and there's a lot of activity. And understandably, a lot of our potential customers are just holding off and waiting until we actually open. But we can see that. We can see the traffic, and we having absolute communications with customers. And a lot of the customers are realizing the fact that any real resort destination up in the Algonquin area tends to sell out a year in advance. So they're grabbing the dates that they want now, which is very nice to see money coming in. It's encouraging to hear this from strangers from around the world are booking with us. So we just got to get it finished and open. We're pretty optimistic.
Right. So what do you know much about these visitors yet? Like what kinds of, visitors they are, any kind of demographics or,
Sure.
or even like where they're coming from, which you do know.
Sure. A big part of our demographic is the ATV and snowmobile community. We're landowners. And by that, in the ATV and snowmobile community, there's the saying, without landowners, there's no snowmobiling. And so we actually have these two trails that intersect and cut right through our property. So the optics of being involved in the community are very important. So we try to keep that alive. So we're using our downtime during this winter to do some volunteering and fundraising for the snowmobile and ATV community. So they're our target customers. But interestingly enough, if I've learned anything from businesses that I've worked in the past, it's like you can plan for a certain customer all you want, but at the end of the day, it's the one that shows up with the money that matters. And what I can tell you is it's encouraging. For a glamping resort, we're getting a lot of younger adults, no kids. They're asking about if they could bring their dog, kind of thing. Younger adults, and Toronto and Ottawa are primarily. So I would say there's 3 potential customers, snowmobilers, ATVers, and then this sort of young adult, we'll call them millennial customers that are looking for that Instagram moment without necessarily sleeping outside in Algonquin Park.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah. And I think that it's going to be really beneficial for, the couples that really enjoy snowmobiling together. But, you've got one part of that couple that's like, listen, I don't want to stay in your hunt camp when you go up north to go snowmobiling. So this is a really great alternative for those types of folks that are looking for something that's just a little bit more upscale, not so rugged and rustic.
And it comes back to our choice of building this in Maynooth. Maynooth has this quirky art galleries, bakeries, coffee shop. Like there's so many things going on, plus the Arlington pub. You sort of have a little bit of everything here. So you're not giving up any of the luxuries that you're familiar with. Plus, we have great Wi-Fi and great connectivity in terms of internet, which again, I see a lot of glamping resorts encouraging you to unplug, and that's fine. I love going to spas and leaving my phone, and that's fun to do. But we believe that a lot of travelers don't want to necessarily completely unplug. And in fact, if you're up in Algonquin Park, it's actually rare to have connectivity like we have here. So we've invested quite a bit in the infrastructure to make sure that if you want to stream Netflix, you could do it from your dome, which is going to be amazing.
How are you reaching this target audience? What are you doing for marketing? How are you getting the word out?
Yeah, that's all Rick. He is the marketing guy, and he is, well known in the community as the guy on TikTok who's promoting the lodge. So he does a lot of that, and it's done incredibly well. When we look at the data that comes back from the demographics and everything, it's done really well. It really helps with spreading the word, and I think that is going to help us when, as Rick was mentioning, we own the platform. We are our own OTA, so we we are really relying on the marketing effort to bring people to us, because they're not going to find it on the Airbnbs and the Vurbos and those kind of places. So Rick can maybe talk a little bit more about the strategies that he uses.
We certainly have Instagram and Facebook lit up, and we have some regular followers, but by far we found that people are really responding well to video. We're not even open yet, and we have almost 200,000 views of our TikTok videos. TikTok has been amazing for us. And we've just been building small videos, documenting the journey. One of our most popular videos is the septic tank going in. Like, it's ridiculous, but they like to see normal people try something new and fail somewhat occasionally, but overall succeed, and people are rooting for it. We get people stopping us on the street all the time. And a friend of mine was having dim sum at 3:00 in the morning in Kensington Market in Toronto, and introduced himself as from Maynooth. And I was like, oh my God, the Dome people. So that happens all the time. So we're doing something right. So I can't wait. We're really excited for when we are actually open. We kind of put a hiatus on it because there's nothing really to report. We're under 1.5 meters of snow and ice, and not much to report, but we're really excited when we can say, okay, we're open for business. We are hoping that these 200,000 views are going to translate into some serious business.
I love this so much. People like glam, but they also like the anti-glam. People are signing, especially on TikTok. It's like, no, give us that septic content.
Yeah.
And that was the whole intention. I think that you can search up glamping on TikTok, and there's tons of videos that'll show you, people, influencers walking through beautiful domes and, in gorgeous locations, and everything is pristine and all of that. But we really wanted to show the journey and what it takes to be able to build and open a glamping resort, and sort of just, if anyone is interested in that sort of information and knowledge. So we've really enjoyed sharing that part of the process, but man, it'll be great when we have those Instagram worthy pictures of the dome completed and ready to open.
Oh, that's going to make some fabulous content, especially on Instagram, which is still very much Team Glam.
That's right.
So it's taken longer than you expected. The road's been a little bit bumpier than you expected. I mean, you probably got some TikTok followers out of the bumpy part of it, which is good. What kind of help have you been getting from, the municipality, from the local governments, from organizations?
Yeah. So besides helping us with the permitting process and the rezoning application process and all of that, we've had incredible support from the Hastings Highlands Tourism Board. They've touched base with us on many occasions. They've helped answer any questions. They've added us to their emails and sent us any information about business grants that we may be able to qualify for. So it's been really, really helpful to have that support. And again, just following us on this process and reaching out consistently to see how the permits have been going. And, they are excited that we're bringing a new option to the area that's unique. And so really behind us all the way. And it's been very encouraging.
But it's more than that. They're actually putting their, action where their mouth is. They're actually setting up meet and greet events. I've been to a number of entrepreneur drop-ins in local pubs and local resorts where we come in, we meet each other, we have a chance to mingle and chat and share success stories and just get to know the community a bit more. And that's all been facilitated by the Hastings Highland Tourism Board. And also too, I'm going to hold them to it. They've promised to roll out the purple carpet for us when we officially open this summer. So I'm looking forward to having them even more involved with once we actually get up and running. And
If you were to do this all over again, is there anything you would do differently?
That's a great question. So anything that we would do differently? Well, I would say that I wouldn't change anything about the process because it has been such a great learning opportunity for both of us. Certainly the process of obtaining the permits and all of that will change as we get more comfortable with our next dome project. But I do believe that ordering our dome and materials direct from China, we thought that would be a huge cost savings and just we would be able to get more of exactly what we were looking for that way. And at that time, we really did. We were really interested in doing the double pane glass windows. We had heard lots of feedback from existing dome owners about the condensation and, essentially building troughs at the bottom of their windows to get the water away from their beautiful floors. And that's just stuff that we were not wanting to sign up for. So there was a lot of value in doing it that way. But we ended up getting into the import-export business and dealing with all of that and duty and delivery and it was just way more than we anticipated and probably not a great cost savings as well. So ultimately, I think next time we would look for a Canadian distributor.
we have put in the infrastructure, the trench work and the electrical and the water for our second dome. So to Jen's point, what we do differently would streamline, simplify everything and appreciate the value that comes with maybe having a local distributor or a Canadian sort of step in to take us to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, if there are any suppliers of domes in Canada, listening for some reason, you guys are looking for a supplier. So you got ahead of me, Rick. I was going to ask what, sort of the future plans were. So there is a second dome in the works. Are you expecting to keep going after that?
Well, we've got a few acres to work with, and we're going to let our customers tell us what they want. So the sky's the limit. I mean, right now we're in this wonderful, optimistic, still pie in the sky kind of buoyancy that we'll see what the customers tell us. We're going to do this first dome, finish it to the best of our abilities, learn from our mistakes, build a second dome as quickly and efficiently as possible. But in the back, we've got some thoughts and some conversations about maybe some tree houses, or there's some really interesting glamping projects from Sweden and Norway, sort of the Finland area, that are absolutely beautiful, and this wonderful Scandinavian design. Again, something unique to Canada, but we'll let our customers tell us exactly what direction we want to go in. We're not in any rush to fill up our property with glamping. So yeah, second dome for sure, and just sort of landscape this and get it looking as good as possible. We're going to do some really interesting uplighting of the forest that the domes are built in. So it's going to be very magical. And definitely a beautiful destination. Again, an Instagram-worthy, kind of a photo-worthy destination just outside of Algonquin Park.
Right. And in the meantime, I meant to ask this earlier, but you both have day jobs.
Well, I divide my time. I do television production for ESPN and NBC Sports. I do outdoor programming, fishing shows. And I'm also working in sales support. So CRM support, Salesforce, that sort of thing. I'm a project manager or a product owner for a number of nonprofits and commercial properties.
I work for a software development company out of Ottawa, which I actually spend half of my time there in the office as well. So I anticipate spending more time here as the weather warms up and we start some significant progress on the dome work. But yeah, incredibly busy during the day, but looking forward to adding this as part of it as well.
And is the intention for that to be a project that you have on the side, or do you think it will grow into something, that will replace your other work?
Yeah, I think ideally, we're looking at it as sort of long-term retirement plan. We'd love to be able to quit our day jobs and run the business. I certainly think that will be quite a long time coming. I could see maybe one of us taking that on and running the property itself. But I mean, we also both love our jobs as well. So as long as we're able to continue
Yeah.
juggling both of them, I think we'll continue doing that, at least for the first 1 or 2 domes for sure.
Yeah, Jen's the numbers person of the two of us, and we've run the numbers, and we know that anything less than 2 domes, we're still going
Yeah.
to be working on other projects. But once we get a third or fourth dome or A-frame or whatever, then we can start talking about taking a step back. But until then, we're both very comfortable with multiple roles and multiple jobs, and we're just going to continue that for now. And again, having great internet, and because we're so close to Ottawa and the GTA is not beyond the realm of a quick visit, we're in a really great place to do
Mhm.
business, whatever we
Yeah.
decide to do.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good place to be and a good plan. Okay, so hopefully we'll have some people listening who are, in Ottawa, in Toronto, or in some other city who are maybe thinking about, making the leap, moving to Hastings County, particularly other professionals, other potential
Mhm.
entrepreneurs. Would you recommend that they make the move to Hastings?
Yeah, I think that, and I hear of people doing that all the time. So it's really exciting to see. I think that just, the pandemic changed the world and how people view the world. And I know that while people are returning back to offices and, life is kind of returning to normal, I do think that people value the escape to the countryside and getting out of the hustle and bustle and recognizing that you don't need to be in an office in order to do your job, or in most cases. There's still lots of companies that are offering 100% remote, and it's a great time for people that are in the city that are looking to just have a little bit more like a relaxed, quieter life, to move to this area. And again, the communities here, I know we've talked a lot about Maynooth, but Hastings Highlands in general, all of the communities here are so unique and so welcoming. And, I just, and, the access to lakes and trails and, everything. It's a great spot to be. That is, in my opinion, more affordable than those that may be looking more in the Muskokas area. And so it's a great alternative.
It's all about potential. A lot of areas of Ontario have been worked over, and they don't necessarily have the wildlife or the forests like that Jenna mentioned. But we have that here, and we have the infrastructure now. And they just put a Starbucks into Bancroft. So there's
It holds me back now.
potential for growth all around. Businesses are waking up to the fact that Hastings Highlands is this nascent community that has always been there. And we've always been close to these urban centers like Ottawa and even Montreal and Toronto. But for whatever reason, we're just on the cusp. Well, I think that's changing. We're certainly seeing it ourselves.
Mhm.
I'd love each of you to answer this. What is your favorite part of living in Hastings Highlands?
Oh, there's, you go first, Rick, because I have to think about it.
Well, if you go on our TikTok, you'll see that there's a number of videos that talk about how great it is to be in Hastings Highlands. A couple that comes to mind, from Maynooth, your 20-minute drive away from half a dozen beautiful public beaches. There's beautiful lakes. There's also a lot of waterfalls near the area, so there's opportunity for hiking. I'm an avid mountain biker, and I get my ass kicked up here every time I go out. The challenge, it's so challenging, and it's a bit under the radar because there's a lot of public or private land right now. So again, with snowmobiling and ATVing, it's happening with mountain biking as well. There's a lot of mountain bike trails up here, but you need to sort of find them. So that's important for me to have some place to go to get outside. And then, like I said, I grew up in Whitney. I have fond memories of being so close to Algonquin Park. I can't even tell you what that has meant to me and my family. So to be so close to Algonquin Park is just a bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to repeat what Rick said, but I do not take for granted how wonderful it is to have, a number of different lakes that are a short drive away. And throughout the warm months, it's a daily occurrence to pack up work and hit any number of the public beaches, just depending on the day, and enjoying the lakes around the area. we are very, very fortunate to be surrounded by so many wonderful lakes.
You're living the life.
Absolutely.
So any final thoughts? Anything I didn't ask that you wish I'd asked, or anything you'd like to close us out with?
Well, I would say if you're interested in opening up a glamping resort or doing something similar to what we're doing, and we get a lot of emails and calls from people that are like, how did you get started? Much like how you reached out to us. There are a couple of YouTube channels that are, I think, aligned very closely with what we're doing. There's a couple, Tyler and Todd in New Brunswick. They started their YouTube channel living in an RV, and then they built a geodesic dome on some property they bought in New Brunswick. Then they built a shipping container home, and they're just finishing that right now. So the Tyler and Todd YouTube channel is amazing. So I'd recommend that. Also, there's a young lady and her boyfriend, Jenna Phipps in Vancouver. She bought an abandoned home in North Vancouver. And for the past 13 months now, she's been, her and her boyfriend have gutted and torn down this house and are rebuilding it. A lot of the challenges of working with municipalities and getting permits, and also just the ability or the willingness to bounce back from a desperate moment where you just don't know how you're going to get out of it. That almost seems to happen every day. When we were in the height of our construction, we certainly experienced it, but this Jenna Phipps YouTube channel is really wonderful to watch. So I'd recommend that, or just type glamping into YouTube or TikTok, and I'm sure there's plenty more.
Also, as people that have been very recently through the process, they're welcome to reach out to us as well. And we love sharing the information that we've learned along the way. And, we've gotten to the point where we are by working with other people in the community. So if there's anyone that's looking to get into this community, we have lots of connections, lots of knowledge that we would love to share as well.
We'll put your contact info in the show notes for anybody who does want to reach out /
Wonderful.
watch all of those YouTube channels / watch your TikToks. All right. Thank you so much, guys. This was great.
Thanks for having us.
That was Rick Delishny and Jen Carr, the co-owners of Maynooth Station Lodge. To learn more about their geodesic dome, their business journey, and other resources mentioned in this episode, check out the links in the show notes. And if after hearing this episode, you're inspired to move your home and work to Hastings County, head over to investinhastings.ca to find startup and relocation advice, commercial property listings, and lots of other business resources. New episodes of I Left the City are coming soon. To make sure you don't miss them, subscribe now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or YouTube. I Left the City is an initiative of the Hastings County Economic Development Department. It's produced by Storied Places Media and hosted by me, Michelle Sampson. Thanks for listening.